Welcome to the Media Mavens show, a fantastic fusion of health, wealth and wisdom that will ignite your passion for life. I'm Aldwyn Altuney, also known as the Media Queen from Australia.
And I'm Kerstin Linnartz from Germany. We are here to take you on a journey of inspiration to help you grow in life and business and unlock your true potential.
With a combined 70 years of media experience, we share stories, insights, and expert advice that will empower you in all areas of your life.
The Media Mavens show is not just another show. It's a candid look for answers to the big questions in life and a movement towards a better, brighter future.
This show transcends borders. We're connecting people and cultures globally.
So whether you're watching us online or listening to our podcast, buckle up to be inspired, informed, and ready to conquer the world. Yay!
Oh, yeah.
Here we are. We are live.
Clapping. So excited.
The Media Mavens premiere. And I'm just getting, Aldwyn, I'm just getting messages from my ladies from Switzerland, from Madrid in Spain. It's amazing. I love it.
Oh, welcome from all over the world. How exciting. So excited to be with you.
This is a very, very, very special premiere. The Media Mavens show, the very first show, live from Australia, from the Gold Coast, with this wonderful, radiant, shining woman who is enjoying the sun. Look at your tan, Jesus. And myself from Germany, it's freezing cold here, and my tan is only makeup. It's cold and gray winter, but I'm so excited what we're about to start here, and it's my honor and pleasure to share every Tuesday now with this wonderful woman to my left. Oh, great.
Oh, it's very exciting, Kirsten. And yes, 70 years media experience is phenomenal. I mean, I know neither of us look a day over 25. We both look, we don't even look 70 years between us. However, we have had extraordinary media background, and we want to share a little bit with you today. We also like to invite you to let us know what you want on the show as well. What sort of topics do you want us to cover? Now, it is around health, wealth, and wisdom. So anything around that, what specific topics would you like to hear about? Let us know in the comments. We'd love this to be an interactive show. I can see Nina's with us from Spain. Hello, Nina.
Hey, to Madrid. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yes. She's an amazing client of mine. And I know, I mean, we're targeting not only women, but we're targeting people like Nina, humans who are interested in those main pillars of life, right? This is why we picked health, wealth, and wisdom. Because if those things go right, everything in life go right. This is how you create an amazing life. We are going to address those topics. We are going to address physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health. And then, of course, it is very strongly interlinked with abundance on the material plane. If you are worrying about money and if you don't know how to get your ends met, right, then you won't be healthy. You won't be happy. This is why the health, the wealth, and of course, the wisdom. We are never-ending learners. Aldwyn was already mentioning. Actually, we're going to tell the listeners, I would say, how we met through learning. We both were attending a program teaching us how to work with virtual assistants. Maybe we're going to address that a little bit later. We are never-ending learners. I always say the best teachers are the ones that are curious to learn, that suck up knowledge like a sponge. And this is something that we want to share. We've been learning a lot on our paths, on our personal paths, and we are sharing that with our clients, with our students, with our readers and listeners. And as you said, we are sharing, we were laughing when we prepared the show, right? We are sharing 70 years of experience in the media. That makes us sound really old, but we have started very early. We both had, I could say that quite, not the very regular the very regular vitae, right, in our lives. And we've overcome many challenges, many learnings, and this is what we want to share here. There will be experts as guests, every now and then we will invite experts on the fields of health, wealth, and wisdom. And as you said, Aldwyn, we want to ask the listeners and viewers to send your suggestions, your questions, and we want this to be an interactive show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see we've got Angela McPherson from Hobart in Australia.
Hi, Angela.
Hello. Angela, welcome from Hobart. Some people think Hobart is not part of Australia. It is its own island, actually. However, it's very much part of Australia, and we love our friends from Tasmania. So thank you for joining us there, Angela. And for others joining us, I can see lots more hopping on here. Let us know where you're from and what sort of topics most interest you. Do you prefer the health topics, the wealth topics, or do you want a little bit more wisdom in your life? Well, you're certainly going to get that from our shows. We'll be sharing everything we know. We are avid learners, as Kerstin shared, and we continue to learn and we continue to be mentored as well as to mentor others. And I think that's an absolutely beautiful thing that we have going here. And so on this, the 70 years of media experience. So Kerstin, I'd love to know a bit of your background and share with our lovely viewers a bit about how you started in the media.
Well, I started at a very young age, actually. As you know, I was hosting my very first TV show at the very young age of 20. So back then, 27 years ago, I'm 47 now, and it's over 2 decades. I always wanted to be an actress, so I was starting acting training. I was modeling back then when I was young to make some extra money to finance my acting training. And back then, my agent actually asked me if I would like to attend a casting for a big live show they were putting together. And I was thinking, okay, I can talk. Why not, doing show hosting? So I attended the casting. I got cast for this show. It was for a big international TV channel, NBC Europe. And it happened to be like a major success. This show that we got put on, they pretty much did typecast. They hand selected in the very beginning as the first cast 5 young people, all around 20, and they covered the main topics that were of interest of young people. We had entertainment, we had sports, we had health, and so on. And I was put in this show like with 0 media experience, but we were lucky because it was a big channel, right? NBC Europe. We got media trained, we got language trained. I received an intense high-level training at a very young age, right at the very beginning. And the show became a major success. We got nationally awarded. We received the so-called Grimme Award, which is one of the most prestigious journalist award of Germany. We even got recognized abroad, even in the US, they would recognize this because back then, this was 1998. We're talking about like really past, not only century. This was the very first TV show ever to combine the internet with a television show. You need to be aware that back then, 1998, we weren't as digital as today. This was still in times of analog television, and it was brand new. We were we are chatting today. For us, it's normal to be interacting live with our audience. We see Nina, we see Angela, and we have gotten used to that. But back then, we were the very first TV show to have a live chat on television. And I still remember up to today, I'm still feeling the goosebumps really, when we had the first viewers of our television show chat with us live on that show. We were like freaking out. So this was the start. I'm going to cut this a little bit short here. It was a major success and it threw me into television. After that, I got offered, of course, other shows, bigger shows, and I became a nationally awarded TV host at a very young age. Yeah.
Amazing. And you've interviewed some phenomenal people. We were actually talking about Nina Hagen, because when I was learning German in Sydney, I went to North Balgowlah Primary School and Mossman High School and Forest High School, for anyone who knows that area of the Northern Beaches area of Sydney. And we learnt 99 Luftballons, or 99 Luftballons, in German class. And I remember our German teacher, actually, she had very hairy armpits. I remember her armpits were very hairy. So anyway, that's a side point. But I love that song. I love that song. And you actually met her.
Yes. And you're mixing up Nena. She's the girl who sang 99 Luftballons. And actually, maybe your German teacher was a fan of hers, because Nena, she was promoting hairy armpits back then. She wanted to make them fashionable. So maybe your German teacher was so much into her hairy armpits that she even went for that. And exactly, Nina is saying that. So this song is from Nena, and Nina Hagen. She's another very famous German singer whom I interviewed as well. And these ladies, both of them, they're now, I would say, like clearly in their 50s. But back then, they were like the German singers, right? And Nena, the 99 Luftballons lady, I met her at a red carpet event when I was super pregnant. Oh my God, I wish I had the photo right here. I'm going to share it one of the next shows. Can I share photos on here? You're the streaming show.
We can actually share screen. Yeah, we can. So maybe we'll show on a future show, or do you want to show?
Yeah, I'll show on a future show, because I will need to look it up. I was so pregnant. I was about to give birth on the red carpet. I mean, I was just getting ready to give birth. And this is when I met Nena on the red carpet. She's all about children. She has children to herself. She has a very dramatic personal history because she lost a child. And she was like, stroking my belly and all of that. And she gave blessings to my daughter. And now when my daughter is singing and dancing to 99 Luftballons, I'm telling her the story. Nena was blessing you when you were in my belly. And the other one, Nina Hagen, she was on one of my live shows. I did an interview with her. And, I always made a very strong, genuine, honest connection with the people I interviewed. And this is just, the way I go to the essence of people quite quick. And Nina Hagen, she actually opened up about her LSD experiences, how she was experimenting with drugs and how she was talking to God. She's very spiritual, and she's this quirky, little bit crazy woman. And I had an amazing live show with her. So yes, both German icons, and with both I had very interesting interactions.
Amazing. Well, thank you for that correction there. It is Nina, not Nina Hagen, two different people. So there you go. Obviously, I didn't pay much attention in German class. However, anyway, I've now looked up Nina's 99 Luftballons, or 99 red balloons, and that was from 1984. I was 10 years of age when that came out.
Imagine. And we still so vividly, we all can sing this song, can't we? Even internationally. Imagine what this woman has accomplished. I mean, this is talking of femme power, right? It's crazy. Let me see if I find the...
It goes sort of like that if you can't remember the song.
Great.
Look it up. And Nina Hagen is actually 68 years of age now. 11th of March, 1955, she was born. So that would make her... So she's almost having her birthday in 1 month. So happy birthday for Nina Hagen, who is... turned 69 on the 11th of March in about 1 month from now.
Wow, 68. This is crazy. She retreated a little bit. She's not as active as she used to be in the past, and I mean, bless her. When you're heading your 70s, you've got all rights to take it a little bit more slow, no?
Yes, amazing. And I bet you've interviewed some other phenomenal people too. Are there any other really memorable big names that you can remember that really stand out? We'll probably share more of these. We'll filter these through, I'm sure, our shows. We'll let you know some of the amazing people we've interviewed. But I'd love to know, there one or two others you could share?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've when I was doing this live show for NBC Giga, I was running the part of entertainment. So I got to interview every musician who would do a music premiere back then. And as I said, this was before the internet. This was before Apple Music and Amazon Music and all of those streamers. They had to come to a television show to premiere their songs, right? And same with the movie premieres. All the movie stars, the international Hollywood stars, they would come to a show and promote their shows, right? So yeah, I've had some amazing interviews. One of the most memorable ones, I would say, was the drummer of Nirvana. He was actually, this was an intense one as well. He was telling me about how he had a conversation with Kurt, pretty much announcing him to wanting to take his life. No, so it wasn't only light and fun things, but also some very intense moments. I've interviewed Will Smith, who's such a media pro. I mean, you can learn a lot from these people.
Yes.
When you're, I mean, you must imagine, I was 20. I was a kid. I could be my own mother looking back, no? And of course, this is something we will share as well. I didn't come from a position of a lot of self-confidence. Back then, I'm being very realistic here. I was cast for my looks. They weren't interested in if I'm intelligent. Later on, you know, I had to prove myself that I'm intelligent, that I can talk, that I can have deep conversations with those people. But in the beginning, I was cast as a decoration for the show. I'm very aware of that. So, and I didn't come with a lot of confidence. This is what I developed over the years, all the trainings that I did with coaches, the therapies. Back then, when I was 20, I was a pretty but inwardly very insecure girl. I was not confident at all. You know, I didn't come from a stable background. This will be, you know, for sure touching some of the topics, both of our biographies. Where did we come from? How did we transform our own lives? But stepping into that show and being confronted and being put in front of those huge Hollywood stars, you know, even back then, before social media and before the internet, when you meet a Will Smith or, you know, a Nina Hagen, even a German national star, it can be intimidating on the one hand, but on the other hand, I was like a sponge. I was open. I was sucking up their wisdom, their experience, their confidence. And looking back, I can say it rubbed off on my own self-esteem, because at the end of the day, when you see a superstar go into the toilet backstage, this makes it so clear they're all human, you know, they're all human. They all have their own story. They all overcame their own fears. That's why I love to listen to biographies of superstars, like the Will Smith autobiography, for example, where he openly shares his traumas, the insecurity he had to overcome, right? Or right now, I'm listening to the audiobook of Arnold Schwarzenegger, an amazing biography I can totally recommend. I met him once at an event. I didn't get to interview him on my show, but I got to meet him. Such a gentleman, such a genuine, beautiful, empathic character with a lot to share and a lot to tell, you know, and one of the biggest lessons, I would say, don't judge the book by the cover, or not all that glitters is gold. And there was a big learning in the show business path, on my path.
Yeah, I bet. And I know it's been a very male-dominated area. I know particularly my upbringing in the media as well were very male-dominated. And so oftentimes, you know, women were seen as sex objects, or like the pretty little, you know, dolly bird. And it's interesting that the Barbie movie has just apparently grossed over $1 billion. It's just gone crazy, which is insane. And Margot Robbie actually is from the Gold Coast, which is where I am in Australia, and she was just here for a acting awards night that they just had here this week, actually. So Margot Robbie and the Hemsworths, Chris Hemsworth, etc., they're all here as well, and many others. So we've got a lot of big stars from Australia actually that have made it big in Hollywood as well.
And I saw Celeste Barber. No, she's Australian as well. I love her. I saw that she attended this award show. I think she did a speech on stage as well. I love her.
Yes, and Kate Blanchett as well was here. yeah, it was yeah, it looked like an amazing event. I didn't actually go to it here, but it was called the Actor Awards, AACTA, which was on Channel 10, and I'm sure you could sort of look up the background and see who won what and whatever. But yeah, very, very exciting. And you know, that's the thing, is all these celebrities they're normal people just like you and I. Once upon a time, they were the world's best kept secret, just like you might be feeling right now. And you know, they followed their passions, they did what they loved, and they became good at it and made it big in Hollywood. I know Margot Robbie had very humble beginnings. However, she had a big dream and she saw herself out on the big stages. And I mean, now look what she's done. She's an absolute superstar.
Absolutely.
You know,
And that's the case with so many superstars. And this is something that I see myself touching with my clients and in my groups and in my trainings very, very often, that when I hear from the supposed flaws or weaknesses that my clients feel as a burden, or they when they sometimes people think something is wrong with them, or they have a flaw, or there's certain challenges, or they have this, why me, why is this always happening to me thought that we all have had this thought, when we're honest, right? But you can either stay stuck in this, or you can remind yourself or find somebody who reminds you that we all have that. And that's the difference between people who get super famous or super successful. It's the same with biographies of huge entrepreneurs. The most famous one, Steve Jobs, the Apple founder, the Amazon founder, all these giants. But then also founders, people who are creating a startup and are successful with that. None of them gets born as a super self-confident, disciplined, successful person. They all turn themselves into that. Yes, some may have a more difficult upbringing, and some may have to face more difficult challenges, and others may have, I don't want to blame or shame anyone here, but some go to a private school, and some have to fight their all the way up from all the bottom. And I see Nina is saying that they all have their struggles, but media, I know what she's about to say, but media kind of suggests, especially nowadays with social media, you think when you see a famous or a successful person, oh my God, they grew up with in German we say, mit dem goldenen Löffel, with a golden spoon in their mouth. And this is so not true when you get to know these people. And that's what I learned at a very young age, that especially the people who make it big, they might have had to overcome huge challenges. Because when you look at psychology, there's different motivations why people strive to a very big success. Why do they strive to become famous? Because maybe in their upbringing they were lacking something. Maybe there was, maybe they were lacking material security, and this is why they develop a very strong want or a very strong desire to make a lot of money, because they want to feel secure on the financial plane. Maybe they were lacking love and feeling nurtured and feeling held, and they didn't get the natural trust that a small child wants. And this is why they have the strong desire to become famous, because until you are famous, you think when you're famous, you get more love, which is so not true. It actually makes people more lonely, because the more famous you are, the more your actual circle of friends shrinks. And this is something we will address that for sure. The mistrust that you can develop when you're in a very exposed situation, be it because you're famous or you have a lot of money. It gets difficult to discern if you can trust a person. Do they only want to be my friend because I'm famous or because I have a lot of money? So your circle of trusted friends gets smaller. And to understand that is so valuable for everyone, because I think that can reduce the power and the threat of these feelings, of I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, why is this happening to me, why did I have such a shitty upbringing? We all get given our karma, and we all get given our challenges, and the question is, do you stay stuck in that, or do you get your shit together? Do you find help, and do you fight your way through to grow, to expand, to become stronger, and turn your pain into a power? And if you look at the biographies of, I would say, almost any famous or successful person, I don't know of anyone who was born with the golden spoon. I couldn't name anyone. Could you?
Well, only the royal family. And of course, you don't have to be born into royalty to put yourself out there. The royal family, they're born famous, but everyone else generally, or unless they're the children of famous people, maybe they might be born famous. However, like Melanie Griffiths was the daughter of Tippi Hedren, who was in the Alfred Hitchcock movie The Birds.
Yeah.
And then, Dakota, her Melanie Griffith's daughter. So, there's a bloodline there of famous people. So I guess, that they could be born famous there. However, generally speaking, I'd say 99% of the time, most people come from very humble beginnings and they follow their passions. And really, whether you're, known out there in celebrity circles, whether it's acting or known as an expert in your field, there is going to be times when you are going to be challenged. And there's going to be times when you are going to be doing things you don't want to do on this journey. And I know a lot of famous actors, for example, they often were doing side jobs of waiting and things like, being a waiter or, things like that while they were waiting for acting jobs. In between acting jobs, they did whatever it was necessary to become as they are now, to become on this journey of fame, right? And the trap of success can be that no matter how much success you have, that there's always more levels of success that you could have. So you could have, 10 million followers on social media and someone else has got 100 million followers, right?
Yes.
And it can be a real trap, this success thing, right? And this could be a whole topic in itself that we can cover.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sure we will cover that, because this already leads us to the topics that we work with, right? This is what I see in my coaching, because, maybe to catch from there, after this huge media career, and I don't want to go too deep into here, but I had to learn that, as you say, you can be so famous. I mean, I was hosting a TV show with 7 million viewers every single day, a live show Monday to Saturday. Monday to Friday live, Saturday recorded, 7 million viewers every single day. And I made so much money every month. But you know what? This was some of the unhappiest times in my life. I would drink a bottle of red wine every single night, cry myself to sleep, because I was so depressed. I felt so lonely. Having moved to Berlin, to the capital of Germany, I did not know anyone here. Only one person from my past I knew here, a famous actor, but, we didn't see each other so often. So there was no social net, nothing to fall back to. You get thrown into the sex, drugs, and rock and roll in the superficial media world. And I was entangled in that. My lifestyle got more and more unhealthy. I got into drinking. I got into drug abuse. You get offered everything. And if you say no, you're the boring person. And when you're in the beginning of your 20s, and you for sure, you will not have the stability and the confidence to say no, right? And so I had to learn the painful and hard way that money is not buying happiness. It's nice to have money. There's nothing wrong with it, but only if you nourish the other aspects. And that's why we chose the health, wealth, and wisdom. Only wealth is not going to make you happy. It's not going to make you healthy. Only wisdom, if you can't pay your rent and you have read 1,000 books, you're going to have problems. If you make tons of money, but you're smoking and drinking and eating burgers all day, you might get a heart attack before you even get to spend your money. So this is something, to cut this very short, where I have ended up, I don't even want to say, because as we said, we're always learners. It's a continuing process and path. But where I'm right now with over 30 years of experience, what I'm teaching my coaching clients with this company that has emerged from this experience, from the trial and error and everything, you need to address holistically all aspects of our beings. And this is why we picked health, wealth, and wisdom as the topics of this show, which I love so much. Because when we talked in the past, this is how this show came to life, right? We saw, yes, we both have this media background. We're both, business professionals, but we also have a very strong holistic connection. We're interested in health topics, and even though we're both single ladies, we are very content with our life. We are very happy. You are so radiant. And that's what I hear from everyone. Why are you always so shining? You're a single working mother. You should be exhausted all the time. Well, I'm connected to a higher source. And that's something that I'm sharing with my clients. We found that out. And that's why I love the topics that we picked, the health, wealth, and wisdom, because you need to address all these pillars in life if you want to be truly successful and healthy and happy, right?
Absolutely. And tomorrow here in Australia is Valentine's Day. So, if you are single, welcome to the club, and you can practice some self-love on Valentine's Day. Okay. You can buy yourself some nice organic dark chocolate if you want to, that's healthy.
Yeah.
And you could take yourself out on a lovely date. And I date myself all the time. I can see Nina here. She date yourself is the best love story. Exactly. I took myself out on a date last night. I saw The Beekeeper, which was a pretty intense movie. But, I take myself out often. We've got Boya here on LinkedIn, Health, Wealth and Wisdom. Yes, thank you, Boya. And we've got here on Twitch, we've got Roderlo. Hello, thanks for joining us, Roderlo. He's saying your dedication to your channel is amazing. Let's connect. Thank you so much. And if you are interested in being on our show, please send one of us a PM. We will put our contacts in here in a bit. You'll be able to reach us directly. We've got Samuel here on Samuel Engardio saying, where's the StreamYard link? Well, it should be live on YouTube right now. I can see we are streaming to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, which was formerly Twitter, also on Instagram. So wherever you're watching us, let us know, where are you joining us from? What kind of topics would you like to see us address here? And if you think you would be a great guest for us, please reach out. Now, very quickly, I'll cover my media background. It's actually 40 years media experience. Insane. I've just turned 50. And
congratulations again. It's been very recent.
Very recent. In fact, 13th of February here now, 16th of January was my birthday. And I'm so grateful to have made it to 50 years because I've actually lost 4 friends to suicide by the age of 45. And the stats are that a third of people die by the age of 65. And this is why the health section of our show is incredibly important, because the health will lead to the wealth and the wisdom. So I started when I was 10 years of age. I was actually a top junior table tennis player in Australia. And my first foray in the media is I was interviewed by the local paper. And I remember in our garage in North Balgowlah, we had a table tennis table, and the photographer and the journalist from the local paper came to do a story. And the photographer got up on this big ladder, and he was taking a photo of me with my bat and ball at the table, looking up at this photographer. And I remember looking up thinking, wow, that looks like a really fun thing to do. I'd love to do something like that one day as a 10-year-old. And then at age 11, I was on Cartoon Connection on Channel 7, which was a big TV show here in Australia. And I remember looking at this big camera in the studio, and the host turned to me and said, don't think of the 2 million people watching this right now. And so I looked at the camera and absolutely froze. It was the worst interview ever. However, they did have a table tennis table in the studio, and I got on with my brother and we were playing forehand to forehand, just practicing. But they loved it. They got the clap machine going, made it sound like there was 1,000 people in the audience. And that was my sort of foray to television. And then I did a radio show at 13. I went on and worked for over 20 years as a journalist in TV, radio, and print media across Australia, as well as freelance for many magazines overseas. And I've had my own media business now on the Gold Coast for 20 years. So we do public relations, we have a mass media mastery program, and I do a lot on social media. And in that time, oh my gosh, how the media has changed. Now, we are at a time now, did you know that in 2018, there were only 500,000 podcasts. Now there are 3.2 million podcasts now 6 years on. A lot of people don't regularly podcast. A lot of people do shows, maybe 3 shows, 10 shows is about it, and then they stop. Whereas we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be keeping this one going. And also what's happened, obviously, since social media started, which is only 2004, Facebook started, right? Facebook came about 2004. Now we have half the world's population active social media users. So 4 billion people roughly on the planet, active social media users. And so we come from a very traditional background in media when there were no social media. And now, of course, you know, you have to move with the times. If you don't move with the times, then you're going to get left behind. And if you want to get your message out to the masses, you got to go where the masses are. And of course, this is where the masses are, on social media. And now journalists are looking to social media every single day for story ideas. And this is the beauty of being active out there and having your own show, and is why I love doing shows. I've had Media Queen TV now since 2014. I've been doing interviews with people. Got over 1,000 shows on my YouTube channel. Total Truth Show, I started with a great guy called Ken Kleinberg from the US. We have that co-hosted show. We've just done 55 episodes of that, and that started through COVID. Actually, we met on a networking event, and Kerstin and I, of course, we met through online training through the internet as well. Thanks to COVID. I mean, it may not have happened if it wasn't for COVID that we met. In fact, Kerstin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like
and,
I told you,
I've also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
I was just going to say, I've interviewed some amazing people as well, people like Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe, Cyndi Lauper, Charlie Sheen, Jules, some phenomenal people. Debbie Harry from Blondie, she came out to Australia when she was about 60, and she did an amazing live show. She was phenomenal. I really love Blondie. It's one of my favorite bands from my youth. And so many others. So very grateful to have been through that in the media. And also, like you, Kerstin, I also drank a lot, did a lot of drugs. It was a very stressful time. It was probably for me also, in some ways, some of the hardest times I went through as a journalist, because we were, you know, when I was doing news reporting, we were covering accident scenes and really full on things that sometimes the police and the ambulance weren't there. We were there before them often, because we're on the police scanners. We were getting out to some pretty horrendous scenes at times, particularly when I was working at the Queensland Times in Ipswich. That was, you know, there was some pretty hard scenes that we covered. And a lot of journalists do get PTSD. They get post-traumatic stress disorder. And you know, it's a tough road in mainstream media nowadays.
Absolutely. It is tough. And especially when you're doing these live things. What you were just mentioning when you were reporting from accidents and so on, there's an amazing movie on that. It's called Nightcrawler. You might know it. You got to check that out. Nightcrawler. So I just saw it recently by accident. It got recommended. It's about, you know, exactly that. Those reporters who go to the accidents and who report from there. And you can totally understand that these news reporters get PTSD, right? But also, we were talking about the famous celebrities. I think everyone in a situation with a lot of pressure combined with exposure, which means for the human mind, for the human body, the human system, it's a constant pressure. And it's difficult for you to, you know, to vent and to relax and to release that pressure. And that's how PTSD forms. It's the same with people in high demanding jobs, so-called high performing individuals. They have a constant stress, you know, this hamster wheel, and they sometimes they unlearn how to relax and how to recharge, really, because they're constantly going. And of course, that can lead to developing a PTSD if you're confronted with traumatic events or scenes or situations, or things like burnout, which is getting more and more and more. You were mentioning how the media world has changed, but I think the whole business world, everything, the whole world is changing. The pace is getting faster through social media, through the internet, through, smartphones. I've always been one of the last. I'm going honest here. I'm admitting I've always been an analog dinosaur. I'm actually up to today. I'm writing down my appointments on paper. Can you imagine? Of course, I have my digital calendars, but I'm clinging, I will almost say, to the analog ways. I love to read my books on paper. I don't do it digitally because our brains are not made for ones and zeros. We are analog beings living in a digital world. And this is why so many people are facing PTSD, are facing burnouts, are facing depressions, are facing stress-related symptoms, are getting into addictions of alcohol, drug abuse, shopping addiction, sugar addiction. It is too much for the human system. And if you don't develop a counter system, a skill set, a strategy to save your body and to create situations that allow you to go back to your natural state, which is an analog state, which is a state where your body, your brain, your nervous system, your adrenal system have a chance to recalibrate, then you will develop diseases. And when you look around in our world, it is ever present. It is all around us. We have experienced that in our own biographies. I would say, under a burning glass, magnifying glass almost, because it is an intense surrounding working in the media as a woman back in those years when we started that. But nowadays, everybody is facing that. We've had this in past conversations, and we will cover that on that show. Look at the young girls presenting themselves on social media, right? How the young people are growing up nowadays. What is this doing to their mind, to their body, and to their souls? And all of these are topics that we will cover. And that's why, again, I also strongly want to encourage our listeners and viewers, be it you're joining us live or watching the recording, send us your questions, send us your challenges, the topics you want us to cover. We have like decades of own experience between us. We have mastered different skills. We have done a lot of trainings. This is something that we will share here in the future as well. We've been teaching, guiding, mentoring people for decades. Literally thousands of people have done our trainings, our books, and so on. But also we will invite experts to address all of these challenges that modern people face nowadays. So please send us your suggestions, your questions, your requests. And also, if you want to be part of the show, you can even send us a voicemail if you want to listen to your own voice on our podcast, on our live shows. We will include that as well. If you have a comment, a request, or whatever, we want this to be interactive. And we don't want this to be just a show that is raining on you, but we want this to be interactive. We want to create a community right here.
Absolutely. And it is about inspiring and igniting your passion for life as well, and about unlocking your true potential. We are a stand for that. And on this amazing journey of life, it is a roller coaster ride, and interesting that we have both experienced the high stress of the media world, and we have both in some ways relaxed through meditation and yoga. And I was fascinated to find that you actually have gone very deep into yoga, Kerstin.
Oh yeah, when I was after this show that I mentioned, this show was 7 million viewers each day. A lot of pressure. You get recognized by strangers and talked to by strangers. It was just getting too much, in combination with my unhealthy lifestyle back then, but also having started yoga at the soft age of 14. Can you imagine? I was 14 when I discovered yoga, and it was by far not as popular as it is nowadays. My first years, I was doing it more like a physical activity. But when I was facing my own burnout after this intense live show, I started to address the spiritual aspects of it. I got into meditation strongly. I got into studying Advaita Vedanta philosophy, which I have a master's degree now in. I actually ended up studying it on a very high level. And after my burnout, I decided to take a sabbatical. I had planned on a 1-year timeout, which then ended up in me living in India for 7 years. It would like burst our time frame that we have here. I just want to cut it short. I went to India, and a friend of mine from England, who had made a lot of money with real estate. He had bought like a peninsula, several pieces of land right by the ocean in northern Goa. Beautiful, like one of the most beautiful areas of India, where all the hippies were in the 70s, and very, very big yoga, health, healing art and spiritual scene back then. And I ended up there. As I said, I had planned to take a short sabbatical, and I did a yoga teacher training, staying at an ashram, meditating, healing my own issues that I had. And I never had intended ever to teach yoga or meditation to anyone. I was just doing that for me. And then my friend one day, he asked me, "Oh, listen, one of my yoga teachers, she's not showing up today. Can you take this class?" And I was like, "No." And he said, "Are you freaking kidding me? You're standing in front of 20,000 people on huge stages. I mean, you're hosting for 7 million people, and now you're pooing your pants, teach for 60 tourists. You go teach now." And this is how I actually ended up teaching my very first yoga class in a beautiful shala under palm trees in a wooden shala. I was so nervous, like never before. I was more nervous teaching a yoga class to those 60 tourists than standing in front of a stage, in front of thousands. And I did it. I had my little note, right? I had written down some notes, how to teach and all of that. Although I had attended like hundreds of yoga classes up to then. And I taught this class of 90 minutes. And I swear to God, at the end of this class, those 60 tourists, they were sitting in front of me when I got them out of the deep relaxation. Most of them had tears in their eyes. I get goosebumps up to today thinking of it. And this felt more meaningful and, more valuable than anything I had done before. And that's, look at you. Pablo is his name, right? Yes.
Pablo.
Pablo, the adopted cat.
Loves listening to you.
Yeah, and actually, I had around 4 to 5 cats around me every time I taught in India, 4 to 5 dogs, because you know how animals can sense when you have a calm energy, right? When I was chanting the Om at the end of a class, all the pets would come. And this is how I got into teaching. So in the beginning, I was only teaching at my resort. I ended up, this is why from 1 year sabbatical, I ended up running the resort. I got into managing it. I did the guest relations. I created retreats there. I was teaching on a regular basis. I started running yoga teacher trainings. And this is how my company, Be Better, came to existence. I never planned on building a yoga and coaching company. But one day, a friend of mine from Canada, actually, an entrepreneur from Canada, he was saying, "Sweetie, do you have a company?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, it's illegal what you're doing here. You start to make money with your teaching, and you need to found a company." I had no clue about founding a company. And he supported me. He was a very successful entrepreneur. He helped me founding my company, getting all legal with it. And this is how Be Better came to life. In the beginning, I was running retreats, teacher trainings. I expanded my office to Europe. And then later on, I expanded it further to found Be Better Coaching, which I then, and here the circles are closing, after COVID hit, I couldn't travel the world any longer, running retreats, all the hotels were closed. So this is when I decided to take my offerings online. And that's pretty much the reason why we are sitting here together now. Looking back, again, it was a pain that I turned into power, because I decided, okay, I'm not going to go bankrupt just because of COVID. I'm going to continue, but doing it online. And if it hadn't been this, I would never speak to an amazing lady from Australia like right now. So yeah, there's the winding roads often lead to surprises that you wouldn't have thought of years back, right?
Yes, amazing. Turning our mess into our message, our pain into our pleasure. And what an amazing journey, amazing wealth of experience that you have. And I must say, you know, I've had depression over the years myself, and I've gone through some really dark times. Even though on the surface it might have looked all rosy and happy, etc. However, you know, there was a lot of bullying in the workplace that I went through the media, my time in the media. In fact, I remember when I was at the Gold Coast Bulletin, I remember the editorial meetings had about 10 people in it, and out of all those 10 people, there was one female. And the one female that was in this meeting of all the editors, the chief of staff, the sub-editors, etc., the one female that was in it was a very masculine female, was very butch and very, you know, almost aggressive nature. So interesting, you know, that things have changed so much now. There's a lot more women's empowerment. And of course, we love the men in our lives. And I think it is about balance as well. It's about respecting everyone, regardless of whether you're male or female, actually having you know, respect and treating everyone equally, whatever sex they are or whatever color they are, or, you know, whatever. In fact, we just did a great Total Truth Show episode about the truth about wokeism and identity politics. That was an interesting one, because a lot of people don't know what they identify as nowadays. They have no idea, and that would be a whole other topic as well. So we could cover that as well. Let us know what you want on the show. We would love to hear from you. Now, we're going to keep these shows, or aim to keep them, sort of under an hour. So we will start to wrap up. However, when Kerstin and I get together, we love to chat, and we can just
One day we might do a like all night live marathon, you know, like
we can easily do that.
I know. Yeah, there's so many topics that we can touch, that we will touch. I hope we gave y'all an impression of what this is going to be. The roof of everything will be health, wealth, and wisdom. And there's so many subtopics that are inspiring, that will make you grow, that will support you. And again and again, we're going to repeat that. Please send us your questions, challenges, and requests. And also, if you know somebody that you've heard on another show, if you know some expert that you've read a book from and you would like us to interview him or her on the show, feel free to send us your suggestions as well. We want to turn this into an interactive platform, definitely.
Absolutely. And if people want to connect with you, Kerstin, where can they go? I'll pop some of your links here.
Yeah, they can come to my website. It's www.bebettercoaching.org. You find a call booking link if anyone is interested in working with me. I've got my online coaching programs. I've got live programs. I do retreats. You find all of the information on there. I also have a free Facebook group where I'm holding free trainings on a weekly basis. You find it here. It's called The Power of a Woman, but men are welcome as well. We are planning on changing the names in the near future, because I get so many requests from male humans, and I'm not only coaching women. Some of my programs are targeting female entrepreneurs in high performing women. But of course, as you say, we love the men, and they're very, very welcome. There's my link tree. Thank you for sharing that, Aldwyn. If you copy and paste this link tree, you will get detailed links to all my offers, to all the dates, and so on and so forth. So there's many ways to get in touch and to follow. And of course, join our show here weekly. How about you? There's so many links for you to get in touch.
Yes, we'll come to those as well. Just to spell those out for those on the audio. So the link tree is linktr.ee/Kerstin Linnartz, or Kerstin Linnartz, as we say in Australia, which is KERSTINLINNARTZ_KARUNA. You'll be able to find her there. Or also you can go what else have we got? No, that's the link tree. Okay, so that's the last link tree there. And then for me, you can connect with me on linktree/Aldwyn. So that's linktr.ee/Aldwyn. And in there, you will find my calendar link. You will find the Step Up, Speak Up challenge we did recently, the replays of that in our Facebook group. You will see the Global Good News Challenge, which is something I started during COVID to share more gratitude and good news with the world. It's a free challenge that happens every month, and it is free marketing for you. We actually share your challenge videos out to thousands of people as well, and we add you to a private group, etc. Global Good News Challenge. You can check that one out there. You can subscribe also to my YouTube channel, which is Aldwyn Altuney Media Queen TV, which you'll see this replay on there, and all the socials as well. Wherever you are online, you can connect on those social channels. And we do have a Media Mavens show podcast on Spotify. So if you haven't subscribed there and followed us on the podcast, please do that. And we're setting up all our social links. We're just getting started, so no doubt we'll have more as we go along. However, for the moment, you will find us on podcasters.spotify.com. If you just look up the Media Mavens show, you'll find us there. And also we have a Facebook page, which we'd love you to like our page as well. If you just look up Media Mavens show on Facebook, you'll find us there as well.
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. There's all my links, and I hope you got all that down, everyone. You're writing notes on all that. Very good, very good. Okay.
Fantastic. Yeah, and as Aldwyn was saying, of course, we would be totally happy and thrilled if you would join us on a weekly base, if you'd hit that subscribe button, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, make sure to hit that little bell to get notifications for every new episode that we have. Our library is just getting started, but it will be filled with the most valuable content for you to, increase your health, your wealth, and your wisdom. And we are so much looking forward to share our Tuesdays with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Fauzia Mughal, hello on Facebook.
Oh, Fauzia, my beautiful She's a beautiful, beautiful, amazing client from Switzerland, Basel, an amazing woman. Right now, I'm supporting her in creating, well, I don't want to share too much of her, I'm supporting her in creating a second business. She's very successful in her first business. I'm supporting her in creating her second business. For sure, you will hear more about this amazing lady. We might even want to invite her to this podcast. I'll tell you more about that later, Aldwyn. Finally made it, dears. Oh, you got to listen to the recording then. Beautiful. Don't be embarrassed. See, this is something, the most amazing beings, they're still so humble, and she's and she's one of the best examples. You will hear from her a lot in the future for sure. As I said, we will create a very rich, valuable library of health, wealth, and wisdom. You will get not only inspiration and knowledge, but we will give you practical, hands-on skill set tools, because I'm very much for not only learning and studying, but I want to support people in implementing the knowledge into their lives. One of my teachers always said, self-help won't change your life, but self-help will. And I think this is what we both are about. We are hands-on women, and this is what we will share here. Thank you so much, Fauzia.
Fauzia, she says, you're the best, dear Kerstin. And look, we might pronounce things a little bit differently on our show. And look, we may get the facts wrong too sometimes. So thank you for picking that up, because I always thought it was Nina Hagen that did 99.
But that's how we learn, right? I mean, we're connecting continents. You know this song, tomato, tomato, potato, potato.
Yes.
I love that. We're literally connecting the world and connecting continents. It's summer with you. It's winter here. She loves your Aussie accent. Me
Oh,
too,
thank
by the
you.
way.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'd love to hear your accent one day, Falzia. So look forward to having you on the show. And it really is an absolute pleasure to be co-hosting a show with you, Kerstin. I love your energy. And we've both interviewed each other actually on our own shows as well. As you have your own show as well, Kerstin. Would you like to share about that?
Yeah, it's it's Soul Power Talk. It's a podcast. I don't fill it weekly yet. I'm always trying to keep up my content cadence. I'm focusing on expanding my coaching business right now, and I'm attending another course at the moment. But it's almost a weekly show. It's a Soul Power Talk. It is about empowerment for business people. It's quite similar topics that we cover here. It is supporting people in becoming more successful in their own business without sacrificing their mental and physical health. So I'm sharing from my experience about running my own business, being a working single mother. I'm sharing practical tools. It's actually a little bit a sneak peek into my coaching work. How do you protect your energy? How do you raise your frequency to become more productive? How do you ditch procrastination? All these things that support you not only in business, but in life in general. Because at the end of the day, I want to support people in becoming so efficient and so sharp and so focused to no longer, dilute or dissolve their energy. So at the end of the day, you get your shit done much quicker. And at the end of the day, you have so much free time that you can nourish your soul. You can take care of yourself, of your beloved ones, your children, your friends, your spouse, whoever. And yeah, this is just about the topics that I cover in my show, Soul Power Talk.
I love it. And we got along so well when we were interviewing each other. And of course, you were on Media Queen TV, which is all about inspiring truth and good news. And we just get along famously. Every time we see each other, we get along famously. And you might be wondering about our cover art, the Media Mavens Show cover art. So we have a little Wonder Woman here. Do you see the colors look kind of similar? On our cover image, like Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman, of course, had the lasso of truth. And so to wrap up our shows, we thought it might be nice to share a truth bomb each and to share something that's true to us right now. It could be a quote. It could be something we're thinking about right now. To share a truth bomb to wrap up our show. And thank you, Falzia says she's British. And I love the British accent, by the way. I love all accents. You're the ones with the accent, not us. It's your accent.
I mean, English. I love about the English language. It comes in so many accents, and I just love working internationally. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, Dale, thank you so much.
Hello, Dale.
Enjoyed your
fun. Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Dale, for joining us. Thank you, Dale.
Great. Yeah, we hope you will get to follow the show as well. And I was thinking of another truth nugget that we were going to share at the end of the show, but now I'm getting a download of another one that I'm just going to pick that one. It's coming to my mind right now. Sure. It's never too late for a new beginning. We're beginning this show anew. We're both, no longer in our 20s. And this is a topic that I'm sharing with my clients. Many of my clients are clearly beyond their 40s. And so often people are doubting, can I start something new when I'm beyond my 40s? You absolutely fucking can. And I love about the internet that we can become so graphic in our language.
Just like Tony Robbins.
It's never too late for a new beginning. And it doesn't matter what age you are, what state you're in, what your career has looked like so far. If you get the right mindset and maybe the right support and inspiration like our show, you can always start something great.
I love that. In fact, I love it so much. I'm going to give it the yes button, that one. Yes. And again. And one more time. Oh, yes.
I love that.
That is awesome. And I was thinking, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, right? Don't let the facts get in the way of good story. As funny as journalists, right? As people who've been in the media, and I actually studied media as well back in the day. I did 3 years of studying media as well, which was interesting. All the theory of media, and what an amazing career it's been. And of course, now evolving into the online media world, it is really a true honor to be reaching you all around the world right now. And for those who have joined us, thank you so much for joining us live. If you're watching the replay, let us know, what did you think of this show? Or if you've got some comments today for us, let us know, what did you think of the show? What's a gold nugget? What's a moment of truth that you've picked up from this show today? And what sort of topics would you like us to chat about in future? And if you want to come on as a guest as well, reach out to either of us on socials. You can search our names. You'll find us everywhere. And sending you much love today. Any final words, Kerstin, before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I want to send my thanks and gratitude for everybody watching live, sharing their times, their ears, their open hearts and minds. And as you said as well, everybody listening and watching the recording, thank you for taking your time, always there to have an open heart, mind and ears and eyes. And we're looking forward to have you on our show in the future. I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to next Tuesday already. Thank you so much, Aldwyn. It was a great pleasure, like always.
Thank you. And it is a wrap, and I'm going to give it a clap for our wrap. I was looking for my clapper. It's a wrap. Yay! Our show is launched, Media Mavens. We're off and running. We'll see you again next time. Thank you so much for joining us. Lots of love. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.